Hi, it's Elise here in the children's section at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So our theme for this week is all about standalone fantasy. Sometimes, if you are like me, I just want a book that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I can read one book and know exactly what happens. That's what these are going to give us, because so many of our fantasy books are series. We're going to take a look at the ones that aren't, that you get a complete arc in one book. So let's get started. Our first one is Otherwood by Pete Hotman. So Stewie lives on the edge of the woods with his mother and his grandfather. With no other people his age in his neighborhood, he spends a lot of time with his grandfather. When he passes away, though, Stewie finds himself alone and he starts wandering through the woods. On the other side of the woods, he meets Ellie Rose, who is also his age, and they find out that they have something in common. Both of their great-grandfathers disappeared from the same place in the woods at the same time. When Stewie figures this out and tells Ellie Rose, she literally vanishes right before his eyes. And everyone in the town starts to think that she has either been kidnapped or murdered. Stewie really knows what happened, though. And when he starts telling people, no one believes it. They think he is kind of just making this up. So it's going to be up to him to get Ellie Rose back. This mysterious fantasy will have you wondering and figuring out what exactly is going on right alongside Stewie. So if you're looking for kind of a non-traditional type fantasy, this is Otherwood. Weasel and Poe by Lauren Oliver. So Weasel has been locked in the attic by her cruel stepmother after her father dies. While she's in the attic, she befriends a ghost who appears, whose name is Poe. Poe has a message for Weasel. The message is from her father, who is now on the other side. He would like his ashes to be buried next to his first wife, Weasel's mom, so he can move on. On the way to do this, she literally runs into a boy named Will, who is running errands for the apothecarist, who is also a magician. And Will has this box filled with the most powerful magic in the world. When the two boxes, which almost look identical, are accidentally switched, it sends both Will and Weasel on two separate journeys that keep intersecting with one another to escape the lives they are currently living. And they also have the help of Poe as well, because Weasel really wants to try to set Poe free. This kind of dark fantasy can be a little complicated at times, but you will so love the journey and the nonstop adventure, and you will want to know, does Weasel really get to help Poe? So this is Weasel and Poe. Dragons in a Bag by Zeta Elliott. So Jax and his mother have always done everything together. So he is really confused when she leaves him with a grouchy old lady known as Ma. But when he's at Ma's apartment, he starts to notice that there's something a little more than what meets the eye. And on her kitchen table, there is this box that keeps moving. Jax discovers that Ma is actually a witch, and it is her job to make sure magical creatures are safe in where they belong. She has just been sent 3 baby dragons who need to be delivered to another realm in order to survive. Jax decides he wants to join her on this crazy adventure, and when things kind of go wrong, they accidentally end up in the Mesozoic era, and he finds himself separated from Ma in a land filled with dinosaurs and this creepy invisible man that he doesn't know what the deal is. He doesn't know if he's good, bad, what exactly is going on with this man. You will be on the edge of your seat as you read about how Jax tries to find his way back to Ma while trying to make sure these 3 baby dragons are safe and protected where they need to be. This is Dragons in a Bag. Speaking of another dragon book, this is Dragonfell, but it's kind of completely different. So Rafi is kind of different from all of his peers and friends in his community, he cannot feel or be bothered by extreme hot or cold. One day, some strangers show up to his town and they accuse Rafi of having evil powers, that he has been dragon touched and they need to take him away in order to protect everyone in this town. In fear of his life, Rafi gets super angry and he gets like, think about, you're worried, you're scared. And with all of this, he discovers that he has the ability to basically ignite fires and that he is indeed dragon touched. He then decides, in order to save himself and his village from whatever's going on with these strangers, he needs to go and find the dragon that once used to protect his village. As he sets off, he finds this girl named Maud, who he chooses to team up with, and she is this secret dragon scientist, because they're not supposed to be dragon scientists. The two of them set off to go find this dragon, but soon they uncover so much more going on, including an evil plot that wants to rid the world of dragons and individuals who are dragon-touched, like Rafi is. And there is also a plan going on that they want to enslave villagers. So Rafi will need to decide what he wants to do about all of this that's going on, what he has found out, and he does have the ability to help though, but it could cost him his life. This is Dragonfell. Leilani of the Distant Sea by Aaron and Trada Kelly. So Leilani lives in the island of Sanagadita, and they are currently in the midst of this horrific drought. Hoping to make things better, Leilani decides she's going to make a wish for rain at Mount Kana, which is, some people believe, is cursed, but it also grants wishes. After she does this, it soon starts to rain, but Leilani finds that magic, it comes with a price. And not only does her mother become incredibly sick, but they get so much rain that it causes a landslide and damages half of the island. With the other islanders angry at her, Leilani, she feels this need that she needs to try to figure out what happened and she needs to make it better. And she hears of this flower that's on this island called Mount Isa. She decides she's gonna travel to Mount Isa, but everyone who has traveled there has never returned, including her father. You will be along this mission with Leilani as she faces unknown dangers and horrors in search of trying to help her community recover. It's full of magic and fantastical places. You will so enjoy this adventure fantasy with so many things along the way that you never even knew could be possible. This is Leilani of the Distant Sea. And our last one for this week is The Magnificent Monsters of Cedar Street. So the world Cordelia lives in has actual real life monsters, but many people don't really know they exist. Her father, though, is a veterinarian to these monsters. He helps them when they're injured, when they're sick. He helps make them better. One day, though, Cordelia's father goes missing, and all that's left behind is this mysterious note. And on top of that, many of the monsters have also disappeared as well. Cordelia decides she needs to go and find and save her father and these monsters. So with help from her zombie puppy named Gregory, they go on an adventure that leads them all over the country, even into Canada, and then she starts to realize that humans can be just as bad as some of the monsters that the humans are so afraid of. You will love learning about these monsters. In fact, there's this guide at the very beginning of the book that lists and explains all of the monsters that are in this book that you will want to refer to over and over and over again. There are so many numerous magical creatures that can be found in this world, and it's an incredibly epic journey as she goes to try to save her father and these monsters. This is The Magnificent Monsters of Cedar Street. So these are just 6 standalone fantasies that we have here at the library. Again, these are fantasies that aren't in a series. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know exactly what happens by the time you get to the last page. We have tons of them here, or we have these 6 that we took a look at. So feel free to come on down and we will help you find that perfect standalone fantasy that you are dying to read. I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new middle grade book spotlight with a different theme, and I hope you have a great week.